flowing through our veins. Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old style beers out at the game. Let's go Cubby, Son Ranto
With Michael,
Son Ranto
and Crawley,
Son Ranto and the lovable loser. Son Ranto
with Michael,
Son Ranto
and Crawley,
Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto.
Empty those lungs, Mr. Michael Cotton. Welcome to the Son Ranto Show. I am Danny Rocket. That was Michael Cotton you just heard. Crawley is, nobody puts Crawley in the corner except for Crawley, who's now sitting in a corner.
I feel like I'm in a hostage video.
You do. You really do.
Sound like it too. Like
you're like, they're treating me well.
I really want the Astros to win the World Series. I'll be very happy for Dusty Baker.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of your Crawley Dusty love on the interwebs. Yeah, not a big fan. I take it. A lot of Cub fans are going for Dusty Baker right now. They're like, oh, I'd love to see him get a ring. And you're just like, fuck Dusty and his stupid decisions.
It's a lot more than stupid decisions. Look, there are a lot of things I wish would have happened differently in 2003. That's not my main hang-up. My main hang-up with him is just it's never his fault. It's everybody else's fault. And that us versus the world mentality just gets old quick. I'm more pissed about what happened in 2004 than I am in 2003.
Yeah, because they faded down the stretch. If
they faded, it was just this whole thing. It was like you media or this and that. He was blasting the media the whole time. He got Chip Carey and Steve Stone fired. He's just a fucking asshole. He's just there. He's a whiny little bitch about everything. And the national media all kisses his ass because he's a really good interview, whatever, great. He's lived an interesting life. Good for him. But I'm not a big fan. Like I said, I saw a lot of excuses, a lot of whining. He's just a very thin-skinned man, in my opinion.
Yeah. This show is brought to you by all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you to all of you guys. Patreon.com//Sonranto is how you become a member. There's perks at every level. So please join on. It's kind of a great deal. And we've been working on a lot of kind of new Patreon tier perks, talking about what we're going to give you next year. We're trying to make it better, give you guys more for your money. So please join us, patreon.com/Sonranto. And also, I just wanted to say, because I never say this, we got a new Twitter account, Sonranto Show on Twitter. So find that, SONRANTO show. .com or not .com .Twitter or whatever. Go on Twitter and look for Son Ranto Show. We also have a new Son Ranto YouTube and the Son Ranto page on Facebook. That is where, after the calendar turns to 2022, that is where we will be streaming exclusively this show live for all of our fans.
Yeah. You also forgot we have a Son Ranto Show Reddit subreddit.
Son Ranto Show's subreddit.
Which I would love if you people would go over there, because I can't do the Facebook. I just can't.
So if you want to talk to Michael, go on Reddit, Son Ranto Show Reddit, because he ain't doing Facebook.
Well, and everybody should just fucking not be on Facebook. I mean, I think everybody's finding out now how bad it really is. It's even worse than anybody thought. Just move over, get somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe we will little by little, and Michael Cotton will be the Pied Piper of
I will be over there.
So I got exciting news. I was sitting around the other day. I had a list of things I'm trying to knock out. And one of them was I did not make a Shankless shirt for the last 2 years. There was no 2020 Shankless shirt. There was no 2021 Shankless shirt. But I love wearing my Shankless shirt all the time. So I made a new Shankless shirt for 2022. There it is. You got the sharpened toothbrushes. It comes in multiple colors. This is one of them. This is the navy blue one, Son Ranto Shankless shirt in bloody red lettering with 2 sharpened toothbrushes ready to shank other baseball teams. And it's got the 2022 season all listed on the back with Spagog at the end. And it's available on Amazon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now. You can buy. It's a really long link. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why they did that to me, but it's coming at you right now. I got a question.
Is it, if there is a lockout and there are no games, or it's an abbreviated schedule, does that make it like a collector's item?
That's what I'm thinking. I regretted not doing one for 2020 just so that shirt would exist and that the whole schedule on the back would exist. But obviously that is not the season. And then I could have sold those shirts to everybody as a collector's item. Then I could have made an actual 2020 shirt and made that like 2020 revised, but it didn't happen. But anyway, by that, and directly after the show, we'll be going live on the Spotify Green Room app at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a conversation with all you guys. So check us out. You got to download the app. Spotify. It's spotify.com/US/Green Room. And you download that app. You follow Sun Ranto Show on the Green Room app. And then when you will be notified when we go live. And you can join in a conversation. It's kind of like the new Twitter Spaces, which we've been going on a little bit, and also the what's the other one? Clubhouse. It's kind of like Clubhouse. So if you've never done it before, it's a way that we can all talk together and have a nice time. On this show, though, we're going to talk about the new Cubs ass gym. Assistant GM. That's what I meant to say. And then,
I thought that was ass game. I thought it was just ass game.
You got the new ass game going on.
We're good. We're good with the ass game.
Rob Manfred had a few comments about the maybe possible work stoppage, the Atlanta Braves team name, pitch clock stuff. We're going to talk about that. And also,
that dude should just not ever speak.
Yeah, well, he's got to. It's his job to speak to us. And then we got a special treat. Greg Huss from the Growing Cubs podcast is going to come on and talk to us about all the prospects that are currently in the Arizona Fall League, which is going on right now. And of course, the World Series is going on right now. So have you guys watched last night? Jorge Soler's
I saw the home run. I didn't stick around for very long.
I tried to sell a bobblehead, a Jorge Soler bobblehead, but nobody bit.
Oh, you were like, here's my chance. I can finally get rid of this bobblehead because Jorge Soler did something that nobody had ever done in MLB history. But I thought it was funny, all the Cub fans that jumped on all the national rags who all said, first time in MLB history, a leadoff home run. And people started posting pictures of Dexter Fowler. Of course, that happened in Game 7. This happened in Game 1, so this was the first batter of the World Series. So there's a qualifying thing that they left out. A lot of the
look, I've done it too. Is when you're on Twitter and you want to be the first one to get something out, and you're send, and you're like, oh fuck. And
it was it was badly worded. Yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah, I fucked up today when I said that "This Land Is Your Land" was written by Pete Seeger. And somebody's like, I think that's Woody Guthrie, bro. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I always get those guys mixed up.
At least you didn't say Bob Seger.
No, I said that later. I was like, forget it. Let's just sing Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger. So, but let's talk about the new GM or Ask Jim, assistant general manager. And his name is Jim Essen. No, I'm kidding. It's God
damn it, dude! You almost gave me a heart attack, dude. Jesus. That's not in the goddamn script.
No, I know. It's his name is Essen though. His first name is Essen, but it's spelled different. Ehsan. Essen Bokhari is the guy's name. Here's a picture of him that I screenshotted. He seems like an interesting guy. I watched the whole thing. Brett at Bleacher Nation he had posted a video of Essen Bokhari on a kind of a round table that they had about different stats guys and front office types, basically, for lack of a better term, nerds who work in the front office, kind of quants and people that I guess make graphs and projections and things like that. And it was pretty interesting interview with him and a couple other people from other teams. And I don't know. He's from the Astros, and he worked for the Astros, Dodgers, two very successful organizations. I thought it was interesting that he's a big time. He went to U of I, so there was an Illinois connection here. He was the director of R&D for the Dodgers and Astros. And then check out this title that he got. His last title for the Astros was the Senior Director of Strategic Decision Making.
I love those types of things.
Strategic. Oh, man. Senior Director. Can you imagine being the Assistant Director of Strategic Decision Making? I mean, what do you tell people at dinner parties? So what do you do?
You have 2 business cards just to fit your title on it.
Yeah, you do. And so I don't know. This guy seems like he has dealt with modeling data and then attempting to make that data decipherable to actual baseball coaches and then the players afterwards. Stuff like maybe that guy with his spin rate should throw high fastballs instead of low fastball because the data says this. That is what his job is, to figure out how to not only model the data, which is to come up with hire the programmers who think of the algorithms to make the data, but then you got to make a heat map and show a coach and dumb it down for the actual athletes to let them know what's going on. And so it's interesting. This is the first basic hire from Carter Hawkins, who get to pick his own ass.
What you're starting to see is that these guys all came in, the 3 Musketeers, right? You had Theo, and then you had Jed, and you had Jason McLeod, right? And we find out this week that Jason McLeod is leaving the organization. His job is pretty much being taken over by other people. So Jed's really kind of shaking things up. We wanted this for a while. Different set of eyes is what we asked for. So you got people that have been in a bunch of different organizations, whether it's Dan Kantrowitz with the A's, whether it's Carter with the Carter Hawkins with the Indians, whether it's the new hire with LA and Houston. You have a fresh set of eyes that have been around very successful organizations, especially in the role of player development, which is where the Cubs had been hurting lately. So this is Jed's team. This is Jed's stamp now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Bill Sugas in the chat says, so he models how to ruin the game.
Yeah.
You know what, Bill? I'm with you on that. The whole math bullshit that we have to deal with now, where they're trying to make everybody the exact same as everybody else and all that shit, is annoying. But I did read a quote from Essen Bokhari about this, and I wish I could find it and tell you word for word. But the gist of it was, there are numbers, there is modeling, but there's also uncertainty. And he says what a lot of teams get stuck on is that they take these models and these numbers and the data sets as the gospel, and nothing can change that. But there's uncertainty. It's baseball. It's different, right? Things will and can and will happen that don't match. I do have numbers.
His quote.
That made me feel a bit better about this hire.
I do have his quote, kind of, that he puts numbers on the uncertainty of outcomes. So that is something that he said in this other thing that Brett Taylor posted. And what I find interesting about it is that because of adjustments, like somebody says, okay, now let's pitch this guy. He can't hit a high fastball. Well, guess what? That guy's going to go home and he's going to work on how to hit a high fastball. So if your numbers will change. So you constantly have to be reassessing your numbers to basically zig when everybody else is zagging. So if you can stay a step ahead of those, and then you can be communicative, which he talked a lot in this interview. Everybody should go watch it. Go find the Bleacher Nation article about, and then at the end of it, the article he linked. In fact, I think I have it in the notes here, this YouTube article, and I'll put it in the chat. But, if what was impressive about what he said was that, he said it's all about communicating what these numbers mean, and that the numbers aren't the be all end all of how to do everything, I think is what, Michael's saying. So I'm interested. He seemed like a very thoughtful guy. He's young. He comes from 2 successful organizations. And for those that, hear the Astros and be like, oh, he's a cheater. He got there after that stuff happened. I believe he didn't start with them till 2019. So that cat was already out of the bag.
Yeah. So that I'm going to hit this TFC right now because I saw this on the tweet about his hiring. As long as this guy isn't our hitting coach, and it's a picture of Oscar the Grouch in a garbage can. So yeah, of course, everybody piled on with that stuff, but apparently he showed up. I think he was with the Dodgers and then went to the Astros. Is that correct?
Dodgers, then the Astros, and he's been around for a while.
So his team actually got fucked by that whole garbage can thing.
Yeah, they did. And he also has a background in psychology, which just makes him a more interesting person. I really like listening to him talk. I thought the whole interview, there was a lot of people on there that I had never heard of from different organizations that work in the front office in varying roles, and I found it interesting. So anyway, I just put the YouTube up right now, so check that out. It's cool. But Crawley, you had something I saw you put in the notes about some of these ticket prices. That was you, right? Put it in the brand?
No.
You didn't? Okay. All right.
That's from last time, yeah.
Maybe that was from last time. That's why.
I was going to say, I thought we talked a lot about
I thought we did too,
prices.
but we talk about so many things I forget about. But let's move on and talk a little bit about this Rob Manfred situation. Crawley, I saw you were trying to start a Twitter space the other day. What you wanted to talk about was the possible work stoppage that there would be on December 1st when the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement expires. At that point, there could officially the season might hang in the balance.
Everything will technically grinds to a halt. Nothing can happen at that point when there's no collective bargaining agreement. So no signing free agents, no talking. This is now what? This is the second year in a row, no winter meetings. So they've canceled the winter meetings in Orlando, which so that's there. And so someone like me, I'm getting ready, and I do not like the winter at all. Why I live in the city, it's basically because of the Cubs. But I don't like the winter at all. But I'm thinking about spring training. I'm like, oh man. So we've already gotten our Airbnb all set up, and now it's like, okay, now I'm going to get my plane ticket, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're canceling the winter meetings. I'm like, well, shit. I don't. Now it becomes, I know I can go to Arizona and just vacation, but like the reason I go is spring training and Cubs baseball. So I don't know what I am still going to do, because if there is no Cubs baseball, I'll probably scratch that trip, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's only one reason to go to Arizona, and that's for spring training, or to go to the Grand Canyon. But if you're lucky, you go to the Grand Canyon from Colorado, so you don't actually ever hit all the fucking crowded places.
Well, the technicalities of it, what I read in this Associated Press report is that, first of all, negotiations have been ongoing between Tony Clark and Rob Manfred and all the owners. And they've been going since last spring, and it expires at midnight on December 1st, the contract right now. Basically,
when it turns midnight on December 1st, that's when you have no collective bargaining agreement. That's
when you have no collective. But that in 89-90, when the last lockout, there was the owners announced on January 9th that a lockout would begin February 15th. A deal was then reached on March 1st, and opening day was delayed by a week. Some games were postponed. But everybody's positioning themselves right now, and I saw that MLBPA, the MLB Players Association, they went public, and this is everything that you read is going to be a news release, but from that organization to position themselves. But they've built up their coffers so they can continue to pay players from the union throughout the year. They've got hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars from already playing, but you think of the young guys that maybe haven't built that up, that are just about to build through. They will be supported by the union. And I don't know. To me, there was such a contentious negotiation to get that 60-game season done that it seemed like a prelude to what we're going to see right now. But baseball's in trouble.
So the last time the collective bargaining agreement came up, the players didn't even have like a lawyer. They absolutely got pantsed. Okay. So they absolutely took it bad in that last negotiation. The owners walked away chuckling how much they got away with. So now you're at a point where the players are like, man, we got fucked last time. We have to renegotiate all this stuff. and the owners aren't going to give anything up without getting something back. So the owners are sitting in the cat's seat right now. They are in the position where they can do what they want. And so, like, expanded postseason or DH or stuff like that. That's all stuff that like the players want, and the owners know it. So they're just going to kind of sit there. The owners don't have to give up anything. And that's the trouble, is that the union has to try to reposition themselves in a stronger place, but it's going to be really difficult. The owners aren't going to give anything back.
The players want expanded playoffs?
Absolutely.
Why?
More money.
Yeah, well, because they'll get money. The owners will get more money. You got the
the owners make all the money on that shit. The players do get paid extra.
Yeah, they
but
get
it's fucking. But it's like fucking nothing compared to what their regular game checks. And
so
shit
if you're a player, again, that gives you more opportunity to get in the postseason. So then that's something that you throw into your contract negotiations. You get more national exposure, all that stuff. It's players would be fine with it.
I don't know. So what you're saying is that both the players and the owners. I didn't know this about the players wanting the expanded playoffs, but basically you're saying that both the players and the owners want to ruin baseball.
Yes.
Yeah, like everybody wants to fucking ruin baseball. Everybody wants this game to be the worst fucking version of the game that we could get.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I think in the end they are in it for the money. When they, baseball is.
But they don't understand. They won't get the money if the game sucks.
They believe that the most exciting thing, and again, we're all like-minded on this, on what our thoughts are on this, but their thought is, look at the amount of money that you make for the postseason. That's where the big dollars come in. And that's, again, everybody's kind of thinking that way. Nobody's thinking about, well, this is going to ruin the game, or we have more of a romantic notion of what we like at the game and what makes the game special. We've talked about it before. These players, the owners, it comes down to money.
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't know. I see all of those sort of things as, yes, Rob Manfred definitely hates baseball. No, I see all those things. I mean, that's the sort of thing they are going to make this game as bland and as stupid as possible. And as soon as they get these expanded playoffs to what we've heard they might do, it'll ruin baseball, because you're going to have a fucking situation like the NHL and the NBA that nobody gives a shit about the regular season.
Like, the thing that I find problematic about specific, I don't want to get into the whole expanded playoff specifically thing, but if you have look at a team like the Braves. The Braves are in the World Series right now. They had the exact same record pretty much. I think they were a game ahead of where the Cubs were on Blue Friday when they sold everybody off, okay? They made
St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly. And then St. Louis rattled off 17. You had the NL East was just kind of a shit show this year. Braves ended up taking it. They got hot at the right time. They're in the World Series. But there's been very few times throughout baseball's history where even a team would even have the chance and the opportunity to get there. The Braves got lucky to be in that kind of competitive division that played themselves to even. At this point, you're going to have 500 teams in the playoffs every single year. And the idea that like an 83-win Cardinal team, like happened in 2006, is going to skate through to the World Series just because they got hot at the right time is a much more likely possibility.
And this is why I was surprised when Crawley said the MLBPA wanted these expanded playoffs, because honestly, that hurts the bottom line for the players, because at that point, you don't need to go for it. You never need to go for it, ever. All you have to do is fucking hit like 80 wins and you'll be fine. We'll end up getting these, 80, 81 win teams going to the playoffs every single year. So why are you going to fucking spend a bunch of money on the superstar players? It's going to drive the fucking prices way down for their players. So that's why I guess I always assumed the MLBPA would not be for that. But I haven't fucking paid too much attention to what the MLBPA is talking about, but
they hold it pretty close to the vest.
And the other thing too is that they're going to try to. They know the owners want it more, so that's going to be one of their bargaining chips. They're not going to say we want it 2.
But I mean, that sounds exactly like what the owners want.
Right. But that's what the players want. And same with the DH, you know what I mean? And so the owners want the DH. The players are going to say, we will give you the DH. And the owners will be like, well, we already know you want it too. They're in a bad situation as far as negotiations.
Well, by the way, I finished the rabbit hole this week, finished season 1. It took 4 months to put the last inning together, but I did it. And it's all about the DH and how it's not anything like what you think it might be. And it's a fucking mess, and we shouldn't have it in the National League. That's all I'll say. So
I'm with you.
I had to get a plug.
It is the National League is really the only baseball league in the world that has the pitcher's hit.
And honestly, that's cool. Makes it interesting. That's a fucking interesting thing. Like taking that away and making it so that and I always compare this to the NFL and the NBA, NHL. Like, who gives a shit if they're playing the East versus the West or the AFC versus the NFC in football? Like, nobody cares because all the rules are exactly the same and there's no interest there. It's just another game. And that's what they'll do to baseball. And then pretty soon, they'll end up getting, and then, like Danny, you've talked about seeding.
Yeah.
They add seeding into this, and pretty soon there's just going to be no fucking leagues. Yeah. There's just going to be, it's going to be one league, and it's going to be 15 teams in each division,
or 6 or more. They could make more teams. They're talking about expanding the league, and that, maybe that's one of the things that they give on. But one thing I do know for sure is that the owners, MLBPA, they say they're in a good position. They got their coffers built up. They're ready for a strike. Everybody's going to keep getting paid for a while. But I guarantee you the billionaires are in a much better financial situation, and they can wait a lot longer. So they've always been in the catbird seat.
I don't know. Biblical losses, Danny. Biblical. That frightens me.
So the other thing that Rob Manfred talked about was, and it's actually been successful, is the pitch clock. That the pitch clock in one, I forget what league they're doing it in, but it shaved 20 minutes off a game. And I liked this. I saw this, and Mary Ellen Reinhold put this up on the Sun Ranto Ranchers page on Facebook. It says, breaking, MLB releases photos of what the pitch clock will look like. And then there's Samuel L. Jackson saying, "TikTok, motherfucker."
Well, I gotta ask, didn't they put that in a pitch clock a while ago? Is it a question of, are they going to enforce it?
It's, between pitches is one thing, but and then between batters is the other thing. So you do see the pitch clock happen. You got like 30 seconds for the batter to get in the box and all that happened, but 15 seconds for when there's nobody on base and 17 seconds for when there's somebody on base. Or you got to throw the pitch. Otherwise, I think it's a ball. You're automatically.
Yeah, it would have to be a ball, right?
So, and you know what? I am all for the pitch clock. I have sat there, and you go to as many games as I do, and eventually it's kind of like, throw the fucking ball. Like, that's why you go to Kyle Hendricks start. You're like, this is awesome. Like, as much as I love you, Darvish, it was like, holy shit, dude, seriously, like, I gotta get home at some time. You know what I mean? It's like, it's killing. Or John Lester's another red ass. Like, I don't want the pitch clock. Fuck you. Sit there, and get the ball, throw the ball.
I do. Yeah, I just want to see the first guy that just stands there for like the full 45 seconds or whatever, and just lets, like, as an intentional walk. Just like, I'm just gonna be a dick and just stand here.
Hey, you can do it in a minute with nobody on. Take a minute 8.
I mean, I get the whole pitch clock, and if it can shave 20 minutes, that's great. Fucking make these pitchers do a little more. But also let's put a pitch clock on the fucking replays, right? Like 1 minute. If you can't figure that shit out in a minute, there's no reason to be looking at it.
Same thing with the batters. Get them in the batter's box. I remember.
I agree.
Nomar Garcia Parra used to jump out and do oh Jesus, dude, just get in the box.
Well, and also you see how it's going on in the playoffs. Like, oh my God, some of these games. Like, I think the first 3 innings of yesterday's World Series game, and there were a couple injuries. The starting pitchers both had to come out. One guy pitched on a broken leg.
Fucking broke his leg while pitching.
and
Holy
threw 12, 13 pitches or something. But, so I can understand that taking a little longer. But, 3 innings took like 2 hours. And it's just like, you're talking about getting on national TV. These games are starting at 8 o'clock Atlanta time on a Monday in the brilliance of MLB. Hey, let's start on a Monday. The World Series. Everybody will watch. Stay up real late. Or Tuesday, whatever the hell day it was yesterday. But you know what I mean? It's like I think we're all in favor of the game. Like, and it's not about the time, it's about the pace of things. You just look in, you step off, and you look over, and you adjust the gloves, and you spit, and you grab your dick, and all these things keep happening. It's just annoying. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of Rob Manfred, what he came out with, is probably something that I think maybe we should bring over to the green room conversation for the most part after this. It doesn't affect Cub fans that much, but it has to do with the tomahawk chop and the Atlanta Braves. And Manfred came out and he said this. He said, it's important to understand we have 30 markets around the country. They're not all the same. The Braves have done a phenomenal job with the Native American community. He said the Native American community in the Atlanta region is wholly supportive of the Braves program, including the chop. For me, that's the end of the story. However, opinions do actually differ. Rob Manfred is not being actually very forthcoming with what he's saying here. He said each market is different. Way before this became an issue, which, by the way, it's always been an issue, Rob. Atlanta cultivated a relationship with the Native American community, which was very helpful in terms of making decisions like the 2 that have been raised. And then here's what I'm going to call BS about it, because Craig Calcaterra put in his newsletter. He said, the Eastern Band principal of Chief Richard Sneed told the AJC, which I don't know what that stands for. That
Atlanta Journal Central.
Okay. Said that if the Braves consult with him, he'll say that he has no problem with the team name, which honors the Warrior spirit, the team name. But it's time to hang up the tomahawk chop. Chief Richard Sneed said that's just so stereotypical, like old school Hollywood. Chief Sneed said, come on, guys, it's 2020. This was last year. Let's move on, find something else. This is last year. So the guy that they've bellied up with and partnered with actually says, get rid of the chop. Rob Manfred goes on there and goes, everybody thought that's fine with that. That's fine. So, here's the thing.
He knows he doesn't want to answer questions. He doesn't want to answer questions about it. That's as simple as it goes. He doesn't give a shit.
Well, and then then there's all the other Native Americans from across the country who are like, nobody talked to us. That's fine. That one dude thinks it's fine, but
my understanding is there's one group that's fine with it, but it just so happens they're in partnership with like Braves ownership with a casino or something like that.
It just so happens they make a lot of money.
A lot of money off it. Exactly.
It's just all a bunch of horse shit. And Rob Manfred is he literally it's like, careful what you wish for. Cause I was like, oh, Bud Selig really sucks. And then all of a sudden like Rob Manfred comes, it's like, oh my God, he sucks even worse.
He was, yeah. Who knew that Bud Selig was the fucking the voice of reason up there at that time?
It almost makes me want to go to the Bud Selig experience in Milwaukee. almost makes me want to pay to get.
One of these days, I'm gonna pay, dude. I am gonna pay one of these days. I will do it
together and just let's get really drunk and poop in the corner or something. Let's just make it ugly. So yeah, I mean, I'm against the chop. I think most people are against the chop. The other thing that I thought about is that, you're doing this fake warrior whoop, and you're going, oh, you're singing like, a bullshit version of like a fake war chant. And you're acting like you're a Native American, even though you're a white guy from wherever, and you're doing the chop or black. It doesn't matter what color you are. You're just doing a fake thing that's not real, and you're pretending you might as well be going woo woo woo. You know what I mean? And running around with playing.
Oh, that's exactly what they are doing.
It's the same fucking thing. And anybody. And first of all, the Braves knew this was racist. That's why they got rid of the other mascot. That's why the Indians stopped what they're doing. Everybody knows it's problematic, and they do it anyway, and they don't care. And
which Braves mascot are you talking about?
The one, they had Chief Nakahoma.
That
guy went down, and then there was the dude on the hat, the laughing Indian.
Yes.
And he's like, ha ha, he's got feathers and an earring. Oh, look at this guy. You just shouldn't have real other humans as your mascot in general. But here's the thing that dawned on me. I'm like, you're doing this war chant, and the people you're pretending to be lost The wars.
Right.
And I know that's not a reason to not do it, but that's just so freaking on freaking point with these kind of people. They're not thinking things through. You're doing the losing side's war chant. You know what I mean? That's all I want to say. I know that's the worst reason to not.
Yeah,
do
there's
everything.
8 things I want to yell at you about for saying that, but
yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying everything I can to convince these people to not do it. I'm like, you guys, you're doing the losers chant. Stop doing it. Maybe that'll finally get through to them. Probably not. They're stupid.
No. Hey, if we know anything, losers anymore really dive into being losers.
Yeah, they truly do.
Well, just the opposite of losers are what the Cubs are doing in the Arizona Fall League.
Oh, yeah. We got some studs down there.
Yeah.
And we have a very special guest to come on to talk to us all about it. Greg Huss, come on, from the Growing Cubs podcast.
Crawley, that was a hell of a transition.
I love transitions, dude. I think they're fun.
That was spot on. I love it.
He's a pro because he's got to work with us who can go on about any subject for hours. I want to drop your link in the chat. Please subscribe on, I'm dropping the Apple Podcasts app of the Growing Cubs podcast, but check it out. You guys are in the real sweet spot of Cubs fandom right now because, we talk about the Chicago Cubs. And you talk about all the talented Cubs who happen to be in the minor leagues. So if you want to have a positive experience with your Cubs podcast, listen to Growing Cubs. And if you like yelling at things and throwing shoes at the wall, listen to us. But Greg, I wanted you to come on and talk about the Arizona Fall League. You just dropped a podcast kind of previewing the Arizona Fall League. The Cubs got a bunch of guys playing. And I was wondering if you could start by saying, for anybody who doesn't give a shit, usually, what is the Arizona Fall League and why is it special?
Yeah, so the Arizona Fall League is a collection of each major league team sends a handful of guys. This year, the Cubs sent 7 down to Arizona, and when they're down there, what they do is it's a lot of times like the equivalent of AA level baseball, but a lot of times they'll send top prospects or guys they want to get better views on. Or in the other side of things, right? It's guys that are up for Rule 5 draft eligibility, right? So guys that could potentially be lost in that Rule 5 draft, they have to be added to the 40-man roster or not. And so the Cubs want to get a last good look at them. So that's kind of what the Cubs did here this year with the 7 guys they sent. 5 guys are Rule 5 eligible, and then the other 2 guys are 2 of the top prospects the Cubs have in the system.
Okay, so we got the guy I want to start with is Caleb Killian. We got him from the KB trade, and I'm kind of excited about this dude. I mean, I miss Chris Bryant and everything, but as we got this guy now, Caleb Killian, he was pretty good between single and double A with the Giants and then the Cubs in 2021, 2.42 ERA in 19 starts, 112 strikeouts in 100 innings and only 13 walks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how's he doing down there? Have you
so I appreciate you the homework you've been doing, Danny. That's some top notch shit right there.
Well, no, I stole it off of a NBC Sports article.
I thought you just listened to their podcast earlier.
No.
You're repeating his own fucking stats to himself.
Yeah, well, I do a little homework. I listen. Listen, I'm not an expert in anything. I'm an expert in calling guys like Greg and saying, "Hey, why don't you come on my show and let's get all your hard work out there."
Well, I mean, I heard you guys were talking a little bit of shit about Rob Manfred, but right before I hopped on here, so
feel free, jump in. You want to talk shit?
Yeah, I'll talk some shit because it's related to the Arizona Fall League, right? So some of the top prospects in all of baseball are playing in one league together. I mean, people would love to be able to get their eyes on this, right? On MLB TV or on minor league baseball TV, right? But of course, there's no cameras. There's no way to actually watch these games because MLB is run by a bunch of idiots. It makes no sense to me that I can watch every single minor league baseball game throughout the year, but by the time they go down and have this more or less all-star league at the end of the season, it's nowhere to be found. I know they don't want to take away from the World Series and all that shit, but like at the same time, just throw it on MILB TV. Let me watch because I want to watch the minor leaguers anyways. So
not only that, but the games aren't starting until 7:30, 8 o'clock. And what a lot of people are forgetting is that, like, it used to be like, my dad's an old school guy, but like they would remember like listening to the radio at school during the World Series, where the teacher would let them listen to the radio.
Yeah.
Like now, like, like how many kids are going to be staying up till 11 o'clock, 11:30 to see the outcome of a game? Yeah. Let them at least have something to watch during the day. You could have a start, right? You could have like a early morning start, and you could still, it would be what, like, mid-afternoon or afternoon around here, like,
Yeah. Well, and also, is the World Series really so fragile it can't compete with the Arizona Fall League? Like, oh, well, I didn't, 8 million people watched the Arizona Fall League tonight and fucking just ignored the World Series.
Just let nerds like me watch the Arizona Fall League. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about the Arizona Fall League that I think a lot of people don't realize, and maybe you could talk a little more about this, is the teams are made up of players from different teams. Like, there's not a Cubs team. There's a team that has Cubs players on it, but it might also have, Rockies or Red Sox or whoever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that concept's like really cool. I mean, you get to see some of your top prospects. They get to interact with other people from other organizations, take some knowledge away from them. I think that's a cool concept in general to kind of do that. But I mean, so that way they field fewer teams, right? You got 6 or 8 teams down there competing against each other every day, and it's just a cool experience. And I mean, it's an honor for those players. Like it's a big deal when they get to be invited down to that league.
Greg, so you haven't seen any of the games, but do you know how any of the Cubs are doing down there right now?
So you brought up Killian. Ryan Jensen and Caleb Killian both threw today. Jensen started the game for the Mesa Solar Sox, and he went 4 innings, struck out 5 guys, only allowed 2 hits. And then Caleb Killian came in right after him, threw 3 innings, struck out 6. Only gave up, I think he gave up 1 hit. So really good outings from those two, which in their previous outings were not as pretty. A lot of like the Arizona Fall League is tinkering with stuff, and it's working on specific. It's spring training in the fall, It's
an instructional league essentially.
Yeah. It's a instructional league with better opponents, And so, I mean, you get performances like this, right, where Jensen and Killian kill it today. Last outing they got blown up a little bit,
The real big talk of this spring, this Arizona Fall League has been Nelson Velasquez. I mean, people are a lot of people in the baseball world are kind of looking up at this guy and being like, wow.
Yeah, and he's Rule 5 eligible, right? So the Cubs are probably going to add him to the 40-man roster this offseason, which, I mean, you got to be on the 40-man roster, get called up to the big leagues. There's going to be a lot of different 40-man roster turnover this year on the Major League roster, I'm sure. A lot of guys getting DFA'd and stuff like that. But for Nelson Velasquez to be added, there's several guys that are like kind of right on the cusp. Will they get added? Will they not? And he's making a pretty damn good case. I mean, he's tearing it up. I mean, he was arguably behind Brennan Davis, the best offensive performer in the Cubs system this year. And then he's just kind of continued that in Arizona right now.
Yeah, I know he's making a lot of headlines. In fact, like I looked up, just Googled Cubs AFL, and it was just like, Nelson Velasquez,
yeah.
Everybody's just talking about him right now. And, you wonder if that is like some of that, because these guys can maybe even be involved in a trade, but actually they won't be because of the MLBPA. So it's like they're going to have to add these guys, and you wonder like how the December 1st deadline adds into that. And like with no winter meetings, that's usually when the Rule 5 drafts would be taking place, but then that's not going to happen. So it really could turn into a big clusterfuck. So if you're going to have a 40-man logjam, maybe a strike year is the time to do it. I don't know if there's no Rule 5 draft, then you're not losing guys, right?
Dude, and I was talking with JJ Cooper, who's the editor over at Baseball America, and I asked him about what a strike, or not a strike, but what a work stoppage next year at the major league level means for minor league baseball. Because I was like, I don't remember that. Like, I don't remember what happens when that happens. And he says minor league baseball continues on like normal. So all those players that are not on 40-man rosters, not on major league rosters, they can keep playing. The Iowa Cubs can keep playing. The Tennessee Smokies can keep playing. So
yeah, because they're not a part of the players union.
Exactly. So you got like you were saying, Danny, right? If Nelson Velasquez can't be added to the 40-man roster because there's a work stoppage, that means he gets to continue playing next year as part of the Cubs would be my guess. I don't know exactly like how that works, but my guess is he would still remain a Cub, not on the 40-man roster, and he can keep playing in AAA next year if there's a work stoppage, you know?
So yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens about all that stuff. Now, the one guy that kind of intrigued me, I don't know if you know anything about him, and the thing that stuck out to me, his name is is it Danis or Denise?
I've heard the broadcasters say Danis Correa.
Danis Correa. So this guy, he was signed out of Colombia in 2016 as an international free agent. But the thing that I liked the most is that he's got a high 90s fastball. And we're seeing a few of these guys. We saw Manrod come through this year. Some of these other guys that throw hard. It's such a relief from these like low 90s, high ceiling, boring dudes that have been coming through that I can't tell the difference between them. But this guy seems to be dialing it up there, and also struck out 60 batters in 37 innings at single A. So this guy's maybe a little further away, but what can you tell me about him?
I mean, he was injured for quite some time in the years prior to this year, and so he kind of like he's always had some really good stuff, but like we just haven't had the chance to see it, you know. But yeah, the fastball is no joke. The fastball, upper 90s fastball, got a little bit of run on it too, so it's not just like a straight fastball. And then the breaking ball is really really good too. I mean, he's really like those two pitches are what impressed me the most about him. And he reminds me a lot of like, you know, how like Manny Rodriguez got added to the 40-man roster, and it was kind of a surprise. His Rule 5 eligible year, like we didn't really like know a ton about Manrod, and he got added, and now we're seeing him in Chicago. You know, Danis Correa reminds me a lot of Manrod in that way, where he just kind of popped onto radars and like he's throwing absolute heat.
Will this be the only Correa in the Cubs system next year?
I don't know that Danis Correa even gets added to the 40-man roster, let alone the Cubs go out and sign Carlos Correa. Get out of here.
No, we did. You were talking about Manrod. I actually went and saw the Alt Sox and Alt Cubs play here in Schaumburg, not far from, a little west of Chicago. And, it was interesting, because I was there with Brian Smith from Bleacher Nation. And, it's just, he looked very overpowering in Schaumburg. But what are some of the bumps these guys have to deal with when they're playing against the major league talent? Obviously, it's a step up.
Yeah, like when they get called up from the minors. I mean, I've just heard from so many people that the difference between AAA and Major League Baseball is like the widest gap it's been in years and years. And I don't know why that is. Like that's way over my pay grade. I don't know why that's the case, but I think it's the truth, especially with a lot of hitters. You've noticed that, right? I mean, guys tear it up. I guess the prime example for me is Nick Martini was absolutely tearing it up in AAA this year. Like he was one of the best players in the system when he was in the minor leagues this year. And then when he called up to the major leagues, like not nearly as good, obviously. That's like one of those examples that shows like just how wide that gap is between the highest level of the minors and Major League Baseball. So you're going to see a lot of bumps in the road for a guy like Manrod, and especially a reliever, where relievers are very like volatile in terms of like their performance. So I'm never betting on a reliever. You won't find me ever betting on a prospect reliever, on a free agent signing reliever. Like that's too stressful to bet on a reliever. Nope, pass for me.
So where are you with the Cubs' current state of things? Like you saw, like the last time we talked to you, I don't know, when was the last time we talked to you?
I think it was right at the deadline, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been right at the deadline. So it went right when we got all these guys, and then you kind of saw them for certain, some of the dudes we got in the trade, the trades. Where are you as far as like the Cubs system? Like I know I've seen it put in that top 10 in the majors, and I've seen people say it's still like a middling system. Where
overall, I mean, I think it definitely improved. You see right now, so I'm actually working on putting out a prospect list. Actually, I don't know if it's not really breaking news, but a few of the prospect guys we're putting together a Cubs prospect specific blog website. So I don't know if you guys have seen that kind of toiling around on Twitter. Northside Bound is the name of the website.
Cool.
Me and Jimmy Nelligan, my co-host over at Growing Cubs, and then Todd Johnson and Greg Zumak are all we're going together on a new website. So I'm putting together a prospect list for that site and basically numbers. So you got Brennan Davis at the top of a prospect list because he's by far the best prospect in the Cubs system. Brennan Davis is so damn good. But like prospects 2 through like 17, I swear to God, you can interchange those guys and you can make an argument for any type of like any order of 2 through 17 on the Cubs list. And that was not the case at all a year and a half ago. Like 2 through 17 was like by the time you were getting into the teens, you were kind of struggling to get some names. Like it was a lot of depth, but like those middle levels were just not good. But 2 through 17, there's a lot of high upside guys. I mean, I've talked about it with you guys, right? Like it's the super young guys that have a lot of high upside. But when you put together like 10 to 12 of those guys that are young with high upsides, not all of them are going to hit, obviously. But if you can get like 3 of the 10 or 3 of the 12 to hit, that's a success, I feel like.
That's a third of your lineup.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you build around that, and then because those guys will be cheap for a while. Well, Greg, thanks for the optimism. I think
just followed you on Twitter right here. Inside bound.
There we go. North side bound. Hey,
north side bound.
We're dropping soon. We're launching pretty soon here. And we've been doing some behind the scenes stuff. So we're excited. I mean, we figured there's not a website dedicated to Cubs prospect stuff. I know that the other teams have that sort of stuff, and other teams have had that stuff for years and years. And so me, Zumak, Jimmy, and Todd wanted to put something together and kind of have a landing spot for anything Cubs prospect specific.
Well, we appreciate that you guys do it because I certainly don't want to. So, so then you do all the work, and I just read about it later, and I'm like, hey, I learned something from Greg and Jimmy and.
Are you, Greg? I got to ask. We were talking earlier. Are you planning to go to Arizona?
I don't have plans as of now, but you mean for the fall or for the spring?
For spring training.
For spring, I don't know as of right now. I'd like to. I might be moving sometime soon. I might not. I don't know. I've got a whole lot going on in life right now, so I would love to. I just don't know quite yet.
Well, we hope to see you down there because it'd be fun to party because we never really partied together. So I mean,
I know
you got to sing. You haven't really lived until you sang karaoke with Crawley.
Because I'm stupid.
I love that you accidentally hit the Pedro fucking. It's stupid.
It worked fine though. It actually worked.
It worked
a little lead in.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on, Greg. And, we'll definitely talk to you again soon, probably on the next Ranto roundtable or something like that. Appreciate your insight as always. And good luck with the new, heading north?
North side bound.
North side bound. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, it kind of reminds me of Michael Cotton's children's book. Santa goes north to the pole.
Going north to the
prospects
pole,
go north to Chicago.
Yeah, you guys should team up on a children's book. All right,
boys, I really appreciate it. You guys take care.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks. All right. Well, I got a few announcements before we head on over to the green room portion of the conversation. First of all, Ronnie Woo Woo's birthday. It is on Saturday night. Well, it's actually on Sunday. He's a Halloween baby. Turns 80 years young. Actually, 80 years old. This is going to be fun. I talked to Janet, his good friend that's putting together the party. She's expecting over 100 people at Cubby Bear. They had to move us into a larger room. I'm printing up song lyrics for us all to sing, a Hey Jude parody I wrote called Hey Woo, in which we're all going to sing together. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to print up 100 song sheets. We're all going to sing together. It's going to be incredible. That's at Cubby Bear from 6 to 9. Nice PM on Saturday night. Everybody's invited. It's going to be just a wild time. It's free because it's Ronnie Woo Woo, and he always gets it free. So he certainly can't charge anybody else to get into this. So that's one thing that's happening. That's this Saturday. And then save the date. Cubs Caroling, December 11th. That's a Saturday night. It's going to be really fun.
Absolutely can't wait.
We're going to 5 p.m. We're going to meet over at G-Man Tavern, and we're going to get a little liquid courage in us, and then we're going to walk around Wrigleyville singing a bunch of Cubs Carol songs, which there will be another Cubs Carol contest for you guys out there that want to write, start writing your Cubs carols as soon as Halloween is over. I say it's go time with the Cubs carols. And so get those in. We had a lot of fun with those last year. Man, every year we have a lot of fun seeing Bill Sugas basically putting one up every day. I really enjoy it. And also, just want to real quick about the Patreon campaign. We are working on getting new things going on in the levels that exist. You go at patreon.com/Sunranto. Check out how you can sign up. But I've limited the amount of people that can come in on the $1 level, the $2 level, and the $3 level. So there are only 20 spots left for the $1 level, for example. So if you want to get in and get the Patreon show, which is ad-free and comes to you early in podcast form, if you want to be informed of everything first and be able to join the Discord, the Sunranto Discord, and also the Sunranto Super Ranters page on Facebook, get in there now because you only got 20 slots left. And then it's going up to $2. Blame Joe Biden. It's inflation, people. It's not my fault. So,
blame Joe Biden.
Why not? And also, there are places that if you have a small business and you want to advertise on the Sunranto show, there are now levels where you can do that on the Patreon page. Okay.
Ooh.
So
give us money. We'll talk about your shit.
Yeah, we'll talk about your shit. I'll even produce a full-on commercial that'll play for you on a live show where we got a captive audience every show during the season and off season. I also wanted to say that if you go to sunranto.com/shopping, please shop this Christmas. If you shop on Amazon, I forget to always say this, click our Amazon links and we get like a small percentage of anything you buy on the Amazon. If that you buy through Amazon, just try to remember it's this season, Amazon or sunranto.com/shopping. And you can shop through our Amazon links.
Click on that Amazon link, go to Amazon, buy my book. My book's out there.
Yeah,
Search
but you
my
forgot,
name, it should show up.
But you forgot your login, didn't you?
No. I figured that out, but it doesn't matter. The book's still up there. It's not like I fucking make it. It's not like the order comes to me and I have to scribble this thing out again.
Sunranto, Santa goes north to the pole. Buy it today. And
going north to the pole.
Yeah, whatever. I never read
nobody,
a stupid book.
Trust me, it doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna fucking buy it anyway. Nobody ever does. It's fine.
They will. I'm sure it's a wonderful book. So
it is early because it'll get stuck out in LA, just floating in the water for like 4 months before it can get unloaded.
So Spotify.com/US/green room is where you can find the second half of the show where we're going to have a conversation with you. Join us over there and we'll watch the World Series together. I've got a TFC here and I saw you got one. Michael already burned his, I believe. Correct?
I have one more, but I don't have to do it.
Okay.
I don't care.
Well, here's mine. This one comes from Bob Nightingale. He says, he tweets out, "Sweet revenge. MLB took the All-Star game out of Georgia, but the World Series is still coming south, with Atlanta celebrating his first trip to the Fall Classic since 1999. And Bob.
He's always wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
In every sense, like he just doesn't get anything right.
And then he had an article today talking about how he won't use the name Braves. And I'm like, you just tweeted out. You just did. Never mind. Sweet revenge. Sorry, what do you got? That's my only one.
Okay. I have Casey Smithwood. Okay, guys, I will do it. I will go on Squid Game so I can try to win the money to purchase the Chicago Cubs. So if people are watching Squid Game, little pop culture there. Of course, I looked it up, and all the money that those people can win risking their lives is like $35 million. I don't think it's going to buy the Cubs.
Unless you invested in Bitcoin. Then then you have a fighting chance.
I hope the Ricketts sell their team in Bitcoin.
Unfortunately, I had whatchamacallit. It's not letting me upload anything on the brand for some reason today. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know if we're full or.
Is this you?
That was old. That's an old one.
Oh, that's old. Okay. All right. Well,
I had one that was.
You want to say it to us for the podcast people?
Oh, it's just my favorite one. You remember that one about the Japanese guys making up American baseball names?
The what?
Oh, yeah.
The Japanese video game makers, they had to come up with baseball American names, and they came up with all sorts of like ridiculous names, like
They
Glenn
came up
Allen
with Nars
Nixon,
Lubar.
and Tony and Bobson Dugnut and all that stuff. It's just what Japanese people think American baseball names are. And so Special Jake said, "Here's the full list of people who have turned down the Mets job."
Oh, and then they just showed the same names.
Yeah, the Japanese list of American
Japanese
names.
baseball names. Okay, it took me a minute. I was like, wait, where did you go?
Like I said, it works way better, but unfortunately, it's not letting me upload anything. I'm clicking on add overlay. I've put 1 million pictures on this thing, and I can't do it. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, technical difficulties. I've been having a little choppy of a show myself, but let's see if it's any better over on that wonky app Green Room, shall we? Let's give that a shot. Join us over there. I'm going to play the song, the Hey Jude parody that I wrote for Ronnie Woo. I put it on TikTok, which I've been using a little bit more now that the season's over. So follow me, Danny Rocket, on TikTok. Having fun over there. Here is Hey Woo or Woo Woo. I don't know what it is, but see you over on Green Room. Here we go. Spagog.
Spagog.
Woo woo, the greatest fan. You've got big lungs that woo forever. You've wooed the Cubbies into your heart. At the ballpark, bring us together. Woo woo, can woo all day. Extra innings or double headers. At Wrigley, whether we lose or we win, always hoping the Cubs get better. Now Ronnie starts a new decade. Happy birthday, the #1 fan and Cubs promoter. Because we all bleed Cubby blue, let's scream woo woo. Celebrate that Ronnie's 1 year older. Woo 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 yeah. Woo woo, the greatest fan. You've got big lungs that woo forever. You've wooed the Cubbies into your heart. At the ballpark, bring us together, gather, 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 woo, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo, 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 woo,
Happy birthday, Ronnie. He's old, 80.